car repossessions are at their highest level since the Great Recession, with millions of Americans losing their vehicles.
Let me ask you something. If I told you there was a product that costs $66,000, loses a third of its value in the first 3 years, comes with 7 years of monthly payments, and was specifically designed so you'd never fully understand what you were agreeing to until after you signed, would you buy it? Most people would say no. Most people bought the truck anyway. And right now, in 2026, over 3 million of those trucks are being taken back by lenders. Not because the truck stopped working, because the people who bought them finally ran out of ways to keep making the payments. 3 million vehicles in 1 year. The last time America saw numbers like this was 2009, the Great Recession. Now here's the part that stopped me cold when I found it. The people losing their trucks right now aren't who you think they are. We'll get to that. But first, you need to understand how a truck went from the most affordable, capable vehicle in America to a $66,000 debt trap that's taking people down at every income level. Because this didn't happen by accident. Go back to the 1990s for a second. The most expensive F-150 you could buy in 1995 cost under $25,000. You could save up for a couple years, buy it, drive it for a decade, and never lose sleep over the payment. It was a tool. You threw lumber in the bed. You didn't worry about scratching the paint. That truck is gone. The average full-size pickup in America today costs $66,120. That's more than the median American household earns in a year. More than most people's first house cost a generation ago. And here's what nobody tells you about that $66,000 sticker. The base model, the one in the commercials with the rugged music and the dusty job site, accounts for almost none of the actual sales. The truck most Americans drive off the lot is a Lariat or a King Ranch or a Platinum. Those start north of $60,000 before you've touched a single option. So how did that happen? There's a law most Americans have never heard of that explains everything. In 1964, a trade dispute over chicken. France and Germany had put tariffs on American chicken exports. Lyndon Johnson needed to hit back, and he needed to keep the auto workers union happy during an election year. So he slapped a 25% tariff on imported light trucks. 25%. NIT was supposed to be temporary. 62 years later, it's still there. And what that tariff created is a truck market where the only real competition is between Ford, GM, and Stellantis. That's it. Foreign manufacturers who want to sell a pickup in America have to either pay that 25% penalty or build domestically and absorb American labor costs. Toyota builds the Tundra in Texas because they have to. 3 companies, protected market, no real pressure to compete on price. Prices only move in one direction. But even at $66,000, people were still buying. Millions of them, every single month. And here's the question that makes this whole story so interesting. If a truck costs $66,000 and the average household earns around $65,000 a year, how is anyone actually buying them? The answer is the loan. In 2015, about 7% of car buyers signed an 84-month loan. That's 7 years of payments. By 2026, that number has climbed to nearly 23%. Almost 1 in 4 new vehicle buyers is now committing to 7 full years of monthly payments on something that loses value every single day they own it. And it's not because people suddenly started making bad decisions. It's because when truck prices climbed past what anyone could finance in 5 years, the industry had a choice: lower the prices or stretch the loans. They stretched the loans. Simple math. You're looking at a $66,000 truck. On a 5-year loan at current rates, that payment is somewhere around $1,100 a month. Most people hear that and walk out. Stretch it to 7 years, now it's $750 a month. Suddenly manageable, suddenly signable. The truck didn't get cheaper, the commitment just got longer. But here's the trap hiding inside those longer loans that almost nobody explains clearly at the dealership. A new truck loses roughly a third of its value in the first 3 years. On a 7-year loan with minimal down payment, which is exactly what longer terms encourage, you are underwater almost from day one, meaning you owe more than the truck is worth before the new car smell has fully faded, and you stay underwater for years. So if anything goes wrong during that window, a job loss, a divorce, a major expense, you can't just sell the truck to get out. You try to sell it and the dealer tells you that you owe more than they'll give you for it. The loan becomes a cage. A friend of mine learned this in 2022. Bought a Ram 1500, 84 months, small down payment. 2 years later, he needed to sell it. Dealer told him he was $11,000 underwater. He didn't make a bad decision. He made the only deal that was available, and he's not alone. Right now, 1 in 4 car buyers in America is rolling negative equity from their last vehicle into their new loan. That means they start the new 7-year commitment already owing thousands before they've driven a single mile. They're not buying a truck. They're refinancing a loss and putting $66,000 on top of it. But wait, because we haven't even gotten to the room yet. Most people think the hard part of buying a truck is negotiating the price. They're wrong. The price conversation is almost a distraction. After you've shaken hands with the salesperson and agreed on a number, there's one more room you get walked into before you get the keys. The finance and insurance office, the F&I office. And this is where the dealership actually makes its money. Here's something most buyers don't know. The profit margin on selling you the actual truck is maybe 1 to 2%. On a $66,000 vehicle that's somewhere between $650 and $1,300. After overhead, salaries, and lot costs, selling you the truck itself barely pays for the lights. The F&I office is the real business. The manager there has 3 moves. The first is the interest rate. When you apply for financing, the lender comes back with a rate based on your credit. Let's say you qualify for 5%. The dealership is legally allowed to sell you the loan at 7% and keep the difference. You never see the 5% number, you just see the number they show you. On a $51,000 loan over 7 years, that 2-point difference is worth thousands of dollars out of your pocket. The second move is the add-ons. Extended warranties, paint protection, gap insurance, tire and wheel coverage. These products cost the dealer a fraction of what they charge you. The average markup on dealership add-ons is 170%. A service contract they pay $300 for gets sold to you for $800. Window etching, scratching your VIN into the glass, is one of the most common add-ons. Cost to the dealer, almost nothing. Cost to you, up to $300 for something a $15 kit from Amazon does identically. But the third move is the one that gets most people. And it's so simple it almost sounds too obvious to work. The F&I manager asks one question at the start of the conversation. How much can you afford per month? Say you say $700. What they don't tell you is that the lender already approved you at $550. That $150 gap, that's the budget they fill with products. A warranty here, gap insurance there, paint protection folded in. Each one disappears into the monthly number. You never see them as separate line items. You just see a payment that happens to match what you said you could handle. You walk out thinking you got a fair deal. You paid for a truck plus thousands in products you never asked for, at an interest rate higher than the one you actually qualified for. None of it is illegal. Here's the honest truth about all of this. The truck didn't get worse. Ford and Chevy and Ram are still building capable vehicles. The engineers doing the work are serious people. What happened is that a truck which used to be a tool became a financial product. The price got pushed up by a 62-year-old tariff that protects 3 manufacturers from any real competition. The loan got stretched to 7 years to make that price feel manageable. The finance office got engineered to extract maximum value from every buyer before they left the building. And when you stack all 3 of those things on top of each other, on a vehicle that loses value faster than the loan balance drops, the math eventually breaks. It's breaking right now. 3 million Americans already found out how it works, not by reading about it, by watching the tow truck pull their F-150 out of the driveway. The question isn't whether the truck market has a problem. The question is, how many more people have to live this before the system changes? If you've been through this, if you sat in that F&I office and realized later what actually happened, drop it in the comments. The more people understand how this works before they sign, the better.